Right, ngayong umaga po ay mapalad tayo dahil makakasama natin ang isang geopolitical analyst, no, ang ating kaibigan, si Professor Ana Malindog Uy. Professor, magandang umaga po at welcome sa Bombo Radio Philippines dito po sa Cagayan de Oro.
Maraming salamat, Lawrence. At long last, nakabalik ako sa programa mo. Maraming salamat.
Ano ang nakikita niyo po dito, no, sa pag-atake ng US sa Venezuela, Professor Ana?
Sa akin kasi ang ano ko talaga diyan, ang tingin ko at ang katotohanan naman talaga diyan sa ayun ay matatawag nating invasion of the United States of Venezuela. First and foremost, ang ano talaga diyan, it's a violation of international law. At violation din siya yun ng United Nations Charter na kung saan nakasaad doon na dapat ang isang bansa should not interfere in the domestic affairs of another country. At saka, so it's a violation of international law, violation of the United Nations Charter. It's an interference in the domestic affairs of another country, and that's Venezuela. Again, it's an invasion precisely because ang gusto lang naman talaga ng United States is makontrol ang Venezuela at makontrol ang kanilang oil reserve. Kasi sa buong mundo, ang Venezuela ang may number one reserve when you talk about oil, especially petroleum. So yun pa rin. It's still all about imperialism. It's all about empire, the evil empire, trying to move unilaterally. Pangatlo at wag nating tatandaan din natin na wala itong sanction from the United Nations Security Council at saka ang Venezuela, militarily speaking, is not a threat to the United States. And another thing is Maduro is not a puppet of the United States. Kaya gusto nilang magkaroon ng regime change sa Venezuela so that they can control the oil and the resources of Venezuela. As of now, from my checking sa mga reports, it seems that the United States will dictate and control the whole country. So it's not, and it's like a colonialism in the 21st century. It's glaring colonialism in the 21st century. At isa pa na dapat nating maintindihan, ang isang head of state ay may tinatawag na immunity. Hanggang head of state siya, may immunity siya all across different countries. At absolute yun. Okay, protected yan by international law. Pero ang ginawa ni Trump at ng United States violated din ang aspeto na yan under international law. So this is really an act of imperialism, unilateralism, and of course a hegemonic act of the United States na kung saan hindi naman ito bago. Makikita natin ito sa iba't ibang sa mga nakaraang panahon tulad ng case ng Syria, tulad ng case ng Iraq at ang other countries pa. Ang tanong, baka naman pati ang Pilipinas masubject din dito in a matter of time.
Grabe talaga, nakakatakot ito, no? Kung tahimik lang tayo ngayon, pwede itong gawin ng Amerika sa kahit anong bansa. Pero ang rason kasi ni President Trump ay ang droga raw po yung cocaine. Marami na pong drug addict sa United States. At ang cocaine raw po ay mula sa Venezuela. Kapani-paniwala ba ang rason na yan?
Actually, hindi naman. Kung papanoorin mo papanoorin mo ang lahat ng mga footages at saka reports sa international level on this specific issue, wala kang makikita na sinasabi at gina-justify ang invasion of Venezuela and even the kidnapping of President Maduro on issues related to drugs. I think this is always all about justifying the unilateral act of the executive level of the United States, office of the president. Kasi ang Congress ng United States wala namang sanction na sinasabi nilang inaalaw nila ang invasion ng United States ng Venezuela. Walang ganon. So this is just a justification. It's the same thing that happened in Iraq na sinasabi nila na Saddam Hussein has a massive a weapon of mass destruction and then after the invasion, after Iraq was invaded and destroyed by the United States, wala namang weapon of mass destruction talaga. And if you really look at the reports in Latin America or in the Caribbean, when you talk about drug trafficking and cartels, it's not necessarily Venezuela is number one. Andyan ang Mexico, andyan ang Colombia. And actually, when you talk about cocaine and drug cartels in the United States, ito yung mga bansa na dapat nilang tutukan kasi ito talaga ang nagpo-produce ng, bulta-butahing droga na kung saan pumapasok sa United States. And you know what? This drug trafficking is not new to the United States. 70s, 60s, nandyan na yan. So bakit ngayon gagamitin nila ang rason na ito just to invade and attack Venezuela? This is just justification. At the end of the day, it's all about the oil, the natural resources, the gold, the petroleum of Venezuela that Trump and the United States want to have control. Kasi ito talaga ang interest nila. And the United States has been known for this for decades and there's a lot of example and evidences of countries being invaded because of their natural resources. Ito talaga yung totoo doon. Wag na nating wag na tayong magpatumpik-tumpik pa on this issue kasi yun talaga ang totoo. At inamin din ni Trump yan. Sinabi niya na ang mga oil companies ng United States would go to Venezuela now that Maduro is in their hands. Tapos they will control Venezuela this time. Oh, you see?
Grabe. Harap-harapan na talaga sila, no? Grabe.
Walang no? Parang walang pakialam sa mundo kung anong sasabihin ko. Wala silang pakialam sa mundo, wala silang pakialam sa United Nations, wala silang pakialam sa international law. They will just do what they want to do as long as it benefits them. Ganon ang positioning ng United States especially on this specific issue of Venezuela.
Ang kapal talaga, ang kapal talaga. Now, si Senator Bernie, isang US Senator po, no? Parang binatikos niya si President Trump kasi unconstitutional daw po ito. So anong
Yes.
mangyayari dito? Ito ba'y violation din ni Trump sa kanilang constitution? At maaari bang managot si Trump nito sa international law at sa Amerika?
Yes, I think it's a violation of the United States Constitution kasi wala namang sanction nga at hindi naman yan pinag-usapan sa Kongreso. Kasi when you talk about invasion or when you talk about going to war with another country in the same manner sa Pilipinas, kasi ang ating Constitution is a copycat of the United States, sa kanila, kailangan mo ng Congress, kailangan ng approval ng Congress. Pero walang approval kasi nga, ang nangyari sa itong specific case ng Venezuela, you can call it like an executive unilateralism. Walang consultation sa mga tao, walang sabi-sabi. Even the media was not able to report on this, pero alam nila yan kasi alam nila na may mangyayaring ganito. So, ganun ang nangyari. So, in a way, yes, Sanders is right. There's no it's a violation of their own constitution or the Constitution of the United States. And on the other hand, ngayon may mga parang moves on the part of other political figures in the United States condemning the invasion of Venezuela or the military attack on Venezuela. Now maybe there will be moves against Trump inside the United States, probably filing for cases in the Supreme Court. So ganun ang mangyayari dyan. So even inside the United States may mga debate at may mga conflict din na conflicting perspective on this in this regard. Pero alam mo naman si Trump, 'di ba? Trump is bombastic. He has this parang walang wala siyang pakialam sa iba, basta kung anong gusto niyang gawin, gagawin niya. It just so happened na he is the President of the United States. So, it's a sad reality na Trump was actually voted into power and many actually has this aspiration at saka yung perspective na under his reign, kumbaga, he will be known as a peacemaker. Pero what is happening is the exact opposite. So much for what you call Nobel Peace Prize.
Grabe talaga ito. So kasi po, itong si President Maduro po ay parang nakikipagkaibigan na rin sa China at Russia, no? Para mag-supply ng oil. So ano ba, nagsiselos ba ang Amerika? Ang US?
I think isa din sa mga anggulo na tinitingnan natin is ang move na to ng United States is also the second reason to it is precisely because Venezuela is very close to China and very close to Russia and to other countries in the global south na hindi kakampi or hindi nasa alignment ng United States when you talk about geopolitics. So ang tingin ko kasi ang gusto ni Trump when you talk about the Caribbean and the Latin American countries it should be, or the Western Hemisphere in that area of the world, is gusto niya controlled yan ng United States kasi backyard yan ng United States. So parang iniisip siguro nila, okay, you're too close to the Chinese or to the Russians, so kailangan namin kontrolin ka. But we are in an emerging multipolar world. Pero hindi ma-accept ng United States na nasa multipolar world na tayo. So they're really trying their best to reestablish what you call unipolarity. Yun ang problema nila. They still want to dominate the world. They still want to be the hegemon of the world. They still want to be the police of the world, which is nagbabago na ang mundo. Hindi na ganon ang tinatawag mong world order. But again, they're a declining superpower. They're a declining empire. So they're really asserting their what you call dominance, especially in that side of the world. Kasi backyard yan ng United States. So gusto nila, controlled nila yan. So yun ang nakikita ko rin when you speak about geopolitics in this regard. So ganun ang nakikita.
So grabe talaga no, kapag sumalungat ka sa Amerika, ito ang kahinatnan, no? Ito ang mangyayari. So sa Pilipinas naman po, wala pa kasi akong leader na naririnig na bumabati ko sa Amerika, ang dating Pangulong Digong Duterte lamang, no? So ang Pilipinas, kapag tayo sumalungat sa Amerika, may matitikman po ba rin po tayo, Professor?
Oo naman. Look at President Duterte, where he is now. Di ba nasa ICC, nasa detention, nasa jail. Do you really think the United States does not have or did not have a hand kung bakit na-aresto si President Digong? Si President Digong, nung panahon niya, hindi siya naggalaw ng United States precisely because he was very much supported by the Filipino people. So, go. Pero nung natapos ang term niya, in cahoots with the current regime of Marcos Jr., the United States still did some kind of move against him and punish him by sending him to ICC. Do you really think it's Marcos Jr. alone? Of course not. Diba? So, yung sinasabi ko, if a leader of a country is not a puppet of the United States like Maduro, the United States will move against that person. Not only that person, but even at that country. Pero this should stop because there's such a thing as sovereignty of a country. Lahat ng bansa sa mundo, equal yan in terms of footing as far as the United Nations is concerned. Pero, the United States is known for this since time immemorial na talaga sila, yung kung anong brute force lang ang alam nila. They don't know and they don't respect international law. So ganon. Sa Pilipinas, under Marcos Jr. government, Marcos Jr. to certain extent is protected and under the influence of the United States. Why? Precisely because Marcos Jr. already bowed down to a superpower, and that's the United States. And what's the evidence of that? You look at the 9 EDCA sites. These are U.S. military bases. From the very instance, hindi pa siya nag-iisang taon or isang taon pa lang siya sa kanyang pwesto. Anong ginawa niya? He already, have given the sovereign territory of the Philippines for the Americans to exploit when you talk about military establishment of their military bases in the Philippines. That's an exemplification that Marcos Jr. bowed down to the United States from the very instant. So kung tatanungin mo ako kung he will speak against this instance that Maduro was kidnapped and Venezuela was attacked, I don't think so. I don't think he will bite the hands that protects him at the moment and keep him alive in his position, and that's the United States. Yeah. So, in cahoots din kasi si Marcos Jr. So, gano'n ang mangyari. Pero so, if you look at the Philippines under a Marcos Jr. regime, I don't think the United States would move against Marcos Jr. That's my reading. Unless Marcos Jr. would criticize the United States sa ginawa nila sa Venezuela and would reshift its foreign policy to be more neutral and independent. Ang tanong ko sa iyo, Lawrence, gagawin ba ni Marcos Jr. yan? Given the negative 3% net trust rating niya, and also given the criticism against his government because of massive corruption in government under ng gobyerno niya, na wala na siyang political legitimacy, wala na siyang credibility, wala na siyang integrity as far as his presidency is concerned. Negative 3% net trust rating and approval rating. Saan ka nakakuha at saan ka nakakita ng isang presidente na nasa 3-year pa lang, halfway of his term, -3 na ang net trust rating? That's that's exactly the evidence na wala na siyang political legitimacy at walang political capital. So ngayon, paano siya nagsusurvive dyan sa kanyang pwesto? One reason for that is because he's being backed up by the United States. So with this, do you really think Marcos Jr. would go against the United States by saying, strong statement against what happened in Venezuela, and even strong statement saying that, the Philippines will have a recalibration of its foreign policy na neutral na tayo, independent ng foreign policy natin? Do you really think so? Of course not.
Hindi niya yan gagawin. Hindi niya yan gagawin. Pero Professor, bakit tahimik po ang mga European countries? Ito po'y nakakatakot po ito sa ating level, no? Venezuela, Philippines, mga mahihirap na bansa. Nakakatakot po ito. Pwede palang gawin ng mga support ng Amerika ito sa kahit sinong bansa na mahirap, no? Pwede lang atakihin at kunin ang leader. So bakit tahimik po ang mga European countries? Walang pagkondena. May mga rally ngayon pero walang pagkondena sa level ng mga world leaders.
Ang Western Europe, hindi naman the whole of Europe, but the western side of Europe, they will not condemn the act of Trump and the United States sa nangyari sa Venezuela, precisely because they are part of the Western Alliance. At saka takot sila kay Trump. Bakit? Kasi you have still the Ukraine crisis against Russia. So kapag ginalit nila si Trump, yung Ukraine crisis na yan, ang support ng Amerika dyan under Trump, baka mawala. And they need Trump for that. So ito yung problema ng European states, especially the western side of Europe, because they are in cahoots with the United States. And you don't have, in Europe, it's a very disappointing continent, especially the western side, because they are supposed to be the bastion of what you call human rights, the defense of international law and democracy. Pero tignan mo ngayon, wala kang makikita, wala kang maririnig that they are condemning what happened in Venezuela right now, except for France. Though, ang France, mayroon, I think the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of France, to certain extent, some kind of release a statement saying na, respect for international law, they were worried, blah, blah, blah. Pero, hindi siya strong eh. It's not a strong statement. Karamihan ng condemnation nanggagaling sa so-called global south countries or what you call developing countries. And of course, major powers like, for example, China and Russia. Pero the rest of Western Europe, hindi. Kasi they're part of the Western Alliance. Also, did you hear condemnation coming from Japan? Of course not. Did you hear condemnation even from India? Wala pa ako narinig kay India, and even South Korea. And even, in ASEAN, at least in ASEAN, I think Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim already made some pronouncement saying that he is condemning what happened to Maduro and also to Venezuela. Pero yung mga tinatawag mong allies of the United States, I don't think so.
Wala,
Even
tahimik
the
sila.
Philippines. Pero Lawrence, one thing though, the Philippine yung defense Department of Foreign Affairs nag-release sila ng statement na to certain extent ang tone ng kanilang statement saying na they are worried about what happened in Venezuela. To a certain extent, at least ang DFA natin nag-release, but Marcos Jr., I don't think so.
So Professor, before tayo mag-end, ano ang impact nito sa ating bansa? Hindi ba tataas ang presyo ng gas, ng oil, ng crudo, Professor?
Hindi ko pa sure makita kung magkakaroon nito ng impact when you talk about oil price, precisely because ang importation natin ng oil ay nanggagaling sa Middle East. It's not necessarily sa Latin America or specifically Venezuela. So I think on our side, hindi naman siguro. Pero when you talk about the other side of the world, which is the Latin America and Caribbean, probably there will be an impact to that.
Yeah. Professor, maraming salamat talaga sa iyong pag-join ngayong umaga. Mabuhay ka, Professor.
Maraming salamat, Lawrence, at sa ating mga kababayan. Magandang umaga po.
Si Professor Ana Malindog Uy, usa ka geopolitical analyst, no? Usa pod ka magtutudlo